Hello again, this is BGFH. Welcome back to Illegally Cited, and today I'm back for a hardware review again. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and yeah, believe it or not, this time I'm going to do one more, and it is another pair of headphones. But this one is kind of unique, and it's one that I've been actually meaning to try for a while. I've got the box right here. These are the Aftershokz Bluetooth headphones. And they're actually spelled A-F-T-E-R-S-H-O-K-Z, so it's not the regular Aftershock, plural, Aftershokz. It's O-K-Z at the end. These headphones are unique in that they are not regular, over-the-ear headphones. They're not, they're not like a one ear or a two ears general over the ear or a cup around the ear headphones. As you can tell, I'm going to zoom into this picture here on the back of the box, and these are bone conduction headphones, so they actually sit in front of your ear, and that's why I wanted to show you this picture so that you can kind of get an idea. So they wrap around the back of your head, and they sit kind of right in front of your ear on the side of your head. And the sound actually, you get the sound through the vibration of the music or audio that you are currently listening to. So what I'm going to do is, these are the Aftershokz themselves. They're super lightweight. They're very, very light. And, they kind of look like earbuds, but not really. They got these flat rubber things that sit on either side of your head. I should mention that they do have a corded model for a bit cheaper as well. I believe the Bluetooth ones run between $50-$60 if you can find them on sale. Otherwise they're like 80 to 90, I think, 80 to 100 depending on where you find them in store or online. The corded ones generally I think are between 40 and $50, so it just depends on what you want to spend and whether you want the Bluetooth or not. But yeah, so these things are pretty light, not a problem using them at all. So in this configuration, this is how they would sit on your head. This whole back piece would be at the back of your head, and then each one of these earpieces here would actually fit just in front of your ear. So on well, let's start with the back panel. So hopefully this will come in good enough on the camera. You have a few little buttons and things here. On the left, you've got a little covered port for a micro USB for charging. So that's where you charge it right there. You have a power button where you flick it to the left, it turns it off, and you flick it to the right, it turns it on. You hold it to go into pairing mode. Then you have your volume down and up. So you got the bump on the upside, flat on the down, so it's just one long switch, or one long button, kind of a rocker switch there, and works beautifully. And what I didn't discover until a friend of mine and I was playing with it this weekend, and the volume buttons actually also act as a track forward and back switch. So what I didn't originally realize, and I thought was kind of a negative for this device, was that it didn't seem like I could skip track forward or track backwards if I was listening to any of my music apps, Pandora, Amazon, iTunes Radio, whatever. But in fact you can. So if you hit the button, you'll get a volume increment, but if you hold the button for a second or two, you'll get the track skip forward and back button. And I guess I just didn't think to try it on my own, but like I said, my friend was playing with it, and he had kind of discovered that. I'm like, oh, okay, good, that is good to know. So those are your controls on the back. Then on either side, where are you? There's my finger. There we go. So it might be a little hard to see, but you see that little shiny part on the bottom left there? Each side does have a little button, and on the right hand side you've kind of got your play pause, good for obviously play pausing music or audiobooks or whatever. And on the left side you also have a button, And I haven't used this all that much. It does have a microphone in it, so you can use it as a Bluetooth headset. I don't think the quality is necessarily great for headphone or for phone calls. That could partly be due to the mic that's in there, and it could also partly be to just, you know, like I said, I may have talked about this in other reviews and other Bluetooth products, that the A2DP Bluetooth stack or Bluetooth protocol is just, it's not very good. And while I thought it was convenient at first for having wireless phone calls, I really don't use it much for that anymore. I find myself using the built-in speakerphone feature with my iPhone because it just, the microphone on that is way clearer and it doesn't sound like a terrible tinny or muffled AM radio. So it is there if you need it. I may use it from time to time, but you know, there you go. So it does have that functionality as well. Couple things that I really like about it. I'm going to put this thing really close to the speakers when I'm going to turn it on, because hopefully speaketh.
Power on.
Okay.
Audio device connected.
Said power on, audio device connected. I don't know if you were able to hear that or not. If I...
Battery high. Battery high.
And whenever if I don't have anything playing and I hit the volume, it up or down, it will tell me the battery status. So, you know, for any blind or visually impaired users out there, it actually works really well. Gives you, you know, there's a hard switch to, so you know whether it's on or off. You have your audio feedback for your battery indication, whether you're paired or not. If it's going, like if you are in the progress of pairing, it will say in pairing mode or something to that effect. A lot of good audio feedback there. So, and there's a few tones that represent a couple things too. So audibly, yeah, I mean, it works beautifully for that. I am going to turn it off again.
Battery high.
And you hear the doo-doo-doo, the lower pitch sequence there, and that's telling you that it's turned off. So yeah, that's, I mean, really how easy it is to use the device. Now, before I wrap up here, I'll just tell you kind of how I would recommend using these. These Aftershokz, I don't necessarily recommend them for listening to music, especially if you want to hear, you know, really good quality tunes. They work fair enough, and in some cases I would use them that way. But because these are bone conduction headphones, they have the distinct advantage of you can use them when you are in an environment, let's say you're traveling, or you're in the office, or you're somewhere where you need to hear, maybe you're in class, and you need to hear your iOS device or your computer, whatever it happens to be. You need to hear that and what's going on around you, because it's not covering your ears. So in those types of situations, it's beautiful. So, you know, I've used it where if I'm using one of the GPS apps on my phone, I want to keep getting my status updates from, let's say, Blind Square or one of my other GPS apps, but you know, I want to hear the bus driver call out the stops as they are, or just other things in the environment. If I'm walking, I want to hear the traffic and hear environmental sounds like that. It keeps my ears from being covered, but I can still hear the audio that I want to in my devices. So it works great for that. And I would also say that it works well enough for, like, if you just want to use it, again, you know, whether you want to keep your ears free or not, it works well enough for reading audiobooks, maybe listening to podcasts, something where you're basically listening to people speaking, you know, where you want the audio to be decent, but you are not, you know, you're not going to listen to anything, you know, like you're not going to get thumping bass or, you know, really high fidelity sound. But they work. I mean, they work, and they work well. So, you know, that's what these Aftershokz are good for. And that's really how I use them. I still use the Airband headset as my primary headset because I do listen to books, I do listen to music a lot using those just showing you guys the box here, just so you can see if there's any information that you want off of it or whatever, but you know. But yeah, so I use them if I want to use it as like a navigation aid, or if I'm in an environment where I do want to keep my ears a little bit free so I can more easily concentrate on both my device and the environment around me, which is really what they're designed for. So yeah, that's what the Aftershokz do. Again, they have the corded or the wired model, and I believe they're around 40 to 50 bucks. And I believe, like I said, the Bluetooth ones, I got them on sale. I think they were like 60, but on average, I believe they're, you know, 80 to 100 bucks, depending on where you can find them and if there's any sales or promotions going on. So, not bad. You know, good sound for what they do. You do have to, I find that I do have to kind of fidget with them a little bit to get them to be more comfortable. They do not adjust, so if let me pull these over here again. You notice there's no adjustment on these, so I can't pull them out or, you know, push them together more. You cannot adjust the headband size because it just sits around the back side of your head. So, you know, if you've got a really big head, I mean, I think I have a fairly big head, and they fit me pretty well, so it's kind of a one-size-fits-all sort of deal, but they fit reasonably well, and I think it does take a little bit of getting used to just having something, you know, I'm just not used to having something pushed up, you know, to the side of my head. I'm used to, you know, on the ears for sure, but not necessarily on my head right in front of my ears. So just something to get used to. I do have to fidget with them a little bit, get them comfortable, but once they're there, they work really well. The other thing that I would say is that there is a decent amount of audio bleeding, or whatever you want to call it, where, you know, I will hear what I'm listening to, but the way that the sound escapes these things, especially if you have them reasonably loud, your people around you are gonna kind of hear what you're listening to. So, you know, you get a cheapy pair of headphones, and, you know, they're not cupped around your ears, or they're not, you know, meant for, you know, really good sound. People around you are gonna hear more what you're listening to. So, you know, it might not be a good idea to listen to that crazy song that, you know, everybody hates that you secretly like. So just to keep that in mind. But otherwise, you know, I think they're a pretty solid product, and while they're not my primary pair, I can definitely see myself using them in certain situations. And I think, you know, I work with people who are blind and visually impaired, and me being blind and visually impaired myself, being able to use this type of headset with my phone or whatever as a navigation tool, I think this can make that a lot safer. You know, you're having your being able to hear your device and your environment around you, so it works great for that. So if you are in the market for that, you know, a lot of people say, well, I don't want to use earbuds, or I don't want to use, you know, over-the-ear headphones because I want to hear what's around me. You know, I need to hear the traffic, I need to hear my cane, I need to hear, you know, whatever like that. So that's what these things are good for. So these are the Aftershokz Bluetooth headset, and hope you found this information helpful, and until next time, I will talk to you guys again later.